It's big, it's red, it's new, and it's awesome. Hey there, I'm John. This is Two Brothers RC, and this is the E-flite Pilatus PC-21 1.3 meter. Horizon Hobby sent this over to me to demo for you and run it through the review system to see how it ranks up. It handles well, it's unique, and it's got some serious presence to it in the sky. So let's dive into it and see how it stacks up to the no patent pending Two Brothers review system. Let's start by giving you my actual opinion of the PC-21. First, it is drop dead gorgeous. Horizon has been continually upping the bar for each release. This one improves in both foam and paint quality, but takes a bit of a step backward in my opinion with the assembly process by using screws instead of push-button connectors. I may have gotten spoiled by the Crescendo 2 meter and its assembly. The way that thing easily bolts together with zero tools should be an industry standard. I'm less bothered by how something is assembled if it flies well, though, and this PC-21 certainly does. But enough of my opinion, how does it stack up? Let's find out using the metrics designed for general aviation birds with a wingspan of 1.5 meters or larger. Yes, that is how well this holds up, despite being smaller than the review scale we're using. Starting off, we look at the PC-21's maneuverability, and it's very impressive so far, but we're looking for 5 different things, not how cool the flips and spins look. Number 1 is whether it can be flown with a neutrally balanced center of gravity. Number 2 is if it takes off and lands without being a hassle. Number 3 is if it has enough thrust to actually do anything fun. Number 4 is what the stall speed is like at 1G. And number 5 is whether recovery from stalls is easy. First up on the checklist, it is very possible to fly it on a neutral center of gravity. It's also possible to make it tail heavy and probably unflyable too if you shove really light batteries as far aft as possible. This battery bay is perfection and is how every airplane should be out of the factory. You should not have to chop up a plane or add weight to get it to fly the way you want it to fly. This is outstanding. Takeoff requires gentle throttle application to keep the plane tracking straight. Then gently pull the elevator to rotate into the sky. I always say that you should practice your landings on the first flight, and here I am, doing nothing but touch and goes on the maiden flight to live by my own advice. This is not hard to land. In fact, this is one of the easier planes that I've landed. But I say that because I do this all the time. This is another plane where I did about 40 touch and goes to get a strong feel for how it flies. I would suggest that you resist the urge to haul around at full speed on the first flight. Figure out how it lands by trying it yourself, and by watching me fly it to the ground. Spend a battery doing touch and goes for your maiden flight. The PC-21 and your wallet will thank you for not abusing them. One thing to note, that 5-blade propeller has massive P-factor and it will pull the aircraft to the left if you gun the throttle on takeoff. Make sure the wings are fully flying before rotating it, even on a touch and go. There is adequate thrust to do basically anything that you want to do with the PC-21. We threw in the Spectrum GPS to test airspeeds out and also to compare between the 2-blade 12x12 propeller option, sold separately, and 5-blade stock option. The 2-blade prop maxed out at 122 miles per hour for us. And the 5-blade maxed out at 120 miles an hour. This is our experience. Your airspeed may vary. Either option is excellent. You'll get slightly higher airspeed on the 2-blade option and much longer flight times because it doesn't work the motor or ESC as hard for 2 blades. But the 5-blade option sounds awesome and it feels great in the air. I personally prefer 5 blades, and that's what most of the flying on screen has been so far. The stall speed is definitely low. I mean, you can even see it on screen right now. I tested this by deliberately abusing it by trying to hover it, and it does briefly hover, though it won't stay in the hover for very long. Getting out of a stall or even hovering attempts requires very little more than throttling up because of how overpowered this aircraft is. The PC-21 passes with a 5 out of 5 here. Flight time is our next chapter. Here, I'm looking for an average of 7 minutes of flight to pass. This isn't easy mode either. I expect 7 minutes of spirited flying, the same stuff you've been seeing me do throughout this video. I can make a plane like this fly for 15 minutes, doing nothing but slow touch-and-go circuits, so I expect 7 minutes of higher intensity performance here for it to score well, and the PC-21 definitely lives up to this. With Spectrum 5000 G2 packs, I averaged 7-minute flights. You can easily stretch that to much longer if you fly less aggressively, but that's not my style. Fortunately, this means that most people will find long flight times with the PC-21, because if it hits 7 minutes doing everything I like to do, and what you've seen so far, it'll hit at least 10 minutes for most pilots. The PC-21 passes with a 5 out of 5 here. Our next chapter is landing gear. In this section, I'm looking for quiet wheels. Because nothing ruins a great landing like boisterous wheels that sound like a dumpster rolling down 5 flights of stairs. I also check for whether the wheels are hard, because stiff wheels don't absorb shock. They transfer the force of landing directly to the foam mounting points, and can eventually damage the foam the retracts are mounted in to the point of needing reinforcement, especially for grass pilots. I also look at whether the gear are attached to suspension to dampen impact, and whether the gear cause bouncing, and whether the gear are low maintenance. Now, the wheels are reasonably quiet, despite being relatively stiff. They roll well on pavement. We did exactly 1 takeoff on grass, and I wouldn't recommend flying this off grass unless you have very, very short grass with completely rolled terrain under it. Any bumps can lead to a prop strike. Unlike the other PC-21 on the market, this one has functioning suspension that isn't fake plastic bits to make it look like it works. It does work, and it works quite well. If you spend time learning to land it, though, you won't need the suspension too much because you'll find that it's easy to set down on the wheels with just a little bit of practice. Still, suspension is nice to have. The gear don't cause any bouncing that I can see, and the gear requires low maintenance. It operates every time you tell it to, and it drops quickly. The PC-21 passes here with a 4 out of 5. Moving on, let's cover fit and finish. Here, we're looking for paint instead of bare foam. Foam that looks good and isn't weird out of the box. Plastic or gapless hinges instead of foam hinges. Decals instead of paper stickers, and whether the battery receives airflow to maintain cooling in flight. The PC-21 is very clearly painted across the entire aircraft. Horizon has it painted in a semi-gloss scheme that looks fantastic in the sky. It reflects the sun like a balsa model does, although not as intensely. If you've ever been blinded by a balsa aircraft reflecting the sun at you, you'll appreciate the semi-gloss coating. The foam was great out of the box, despite this being a test unit that Horizon sent over. If you get one, yours will likely look even better, as ours was pre-flown and had some small areas of wear on it. The hinges all appear to be CA-style hinges. The flaps are also slotted, which is fantastic for slow-speed flight. It features low-profile decals instead of stickers, and the battery gets a ton of airflow through the snoot, which then exits through a cleverly disguised vent on the side of the aircraft. No huge holes in the fuselage to be found here. They've designed this so that it looks natural, and that's awesome. The PC-21 passes with a 5 out of 5. Here's a quick note on the assembly. You can fit the wing tube in the fuselage for easy transportation. And the canopy and where the canopy mounts to on the fuselage are both lined in plastic so that it will never get dinged up over time. And putting it together at the field is not hard. It just takes a little bit of time to screw in the 4 wing screws. It uses 2mm hex screws and it has quick connects on the wings. It should assemble in about 1 minute at the field. I still wish that it had push connectors instead of screws though. Our last check through the PC-21 looks at the installed avionics and lighting package. We're looking for servos that are fast, precise, and metal. Additionally, the ESC should have 0 issues with overheating. It should contain lighting, and the servos should be easily replaceable with servo boxes instead of having them glued in place. The motor mount should also be well designed so that it doesn't break easily from maneuvering or from accidental mishaps. So, starting off, it ships with high speed, precise, and metal servos. The ESC showed 0 signs of overheating. The 100 amp Avion ESC has plenty of thermal and amp overhead to handle this airframe. It features a tail light, landing light on the nosewheel strut, and 2 nav lights on the wingtips. I wish they were brighter, but I'm happy that they exist. The servos exist in servo pockets and can be easily replaced by unscrewing the doors and installing new servos if needed. The motor mount is also very well designed and is beefy enough to handle this motor with 0 problems. It also physically appears to be identical to the V1200 motor in dimensions, so if one were to try it, one could install the V1200 motor on this and see just how fast it can really go. The PC-21 passes with a 5 out of 5 here. Before we cover the overall score, let's showcase what gyro gains you can use if you want a more advanced setup. These gains are throttle based and should not be used as fixed gains, nor should you feel pressured to use these. Reference the NX Radio tutorial linked below in the description for more information on what throttle curve to use. Note also that you can run the nose wheel to the throttle port and put the throttle in the bind port to get a free 7th channel following our 10 mods video linked below. This way you can stabilize the nose wheel so it tracks perfectly straight on takeoff and turn it off when the gear aren't extended. You can also fine-tune the nose wheel trim using a trim switch on your radio. If you've got any questions, hop on Discord via discord.gg/2brosrc, and you can pick up the pre-done TBRC setup file for this aircraft on Discord after becoming a channel member too. Overall, the PC-21 scores a 24 out of 25. This is a fantastic score and is only held back slightly by the quality of the wheels. If those wheels were soft rubber or foam, like we've seen with previous Horizon releases, it would have been absolutely perfect. I also would like to see LED lighting get brighter too, but as I said, I'm happy it exists at all. Not every airframe in this class comes with lights, but they should. If you like this bird and you want to support what we do here at Two Brothers RC, you can click the link in the description below to pick one up for yourself, which provides a small commission to us at no additional charge to you. Even if you choose not to do that, I hope this info has been useful for you, and we'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Speaking of support, huge thanks goes out to our channel members on twobrosrc.com/supporters. A very special thanks goes out to our mega fans, Sarasota RC Squadron, Michael Smith, JR Man, Todd, N411X, Jeff Baker, High Alpha Guto, Polly1717, and Scotty Doesn't Know, along with our Ultra fans, TBRC Fan and FS Radio Control. You guys kick so much ass. Be sure to swing by twobrosrc.com and pick up some of your favorite TBRC merch. Coming up soon will be the Flywing X-Wing. We finally got it, and it's awesome for chasing other pilots around, but also for just relaxing and enjoying the view from the sky. See you guys in a week. But before we go, here's 2 uncut flights so you can get an idea of how it performs with 0 edits.
flat spins for us.
Nope. Doesn't like to be flat.
I think it'll invert at high alpha. Let's try it.
It looked like it was.
Feeling weird with that wind. I'm trying to push it too much. We'll get lower with it when the wind calms down. It's feeling wobbly enough that I don't trust it.
Nowhere.
Do it one more time, I think. We need to make sure we got a good anchor on those good.
Have a good evening.
You too.
The pond.